Now at 10, we'll tell you about the Southeast Kansas doctor playing a role in keeping kids in the state safe from COVID-19. Plus, U.S. health officials report a new record high for child COVID-19 hospitalizations and sentencing for a Joplin woman convicted of abusing and neglecting her young daughter.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A Southeast Kansas doctor will co-chair a statewide work group aimed at keeping kids safe in school. This is KOAM News at 10. A big topic right now as Kansas schools see COVID cases and find themselves pivoting to more aggressive safety protocols. KOAM's Zach Dodge has what the doctor hopes to accomplish moving forward.
As we move well into the beginning of the school year, Kansas school districts get hit with COVID cases, many being forced to close or change policies.
We've had obviously some positive cases and certainly some exposures.
The Chanute School District will be requiring students and staff to wear masks inside school buildings starting on Monday. This after 49 students test positive and 219 are close contacts in the first 3 weeks. The superintendent says the change was made because of a drop in attendance.
It had dropped to right around 7% from what would have been the matching week a year ago. That's a big enough percentage to at least look at the issue again.
I am glad that schools and school boards are reevaluating. It is unfortunate because we also are using kind of the first week or two of school to say, well, let's just see what happens.
Dr. Jennifer Bacani McKinney is the Wilson County Health Officer as well as a physician in Fredonia. She doesn't like the trajectory cases are headed in, especially as the American Academy of Pediatrics reports about 204,000 cases of COVID in children over a week a few weeks ago, and Children's Mercy cares for 11 kids with COVID.
We saw what happened last year. We barely had any flu. We barely had any RSV. And already we're seeing flu and RSV. We had one patient the other day that had flu, RSV, and COVID. Unfortunately, that's what we're going to see if we just keep passing these things around.
And now she hopes to cut through rampant misinformation and help schools correct course. Dr. McKinney was just named co-chair of the state's new Safer Classrooms Work Group, a group of health professionals from around the state with the goal of gathering data on cases and vaccinations in schools and giving schools recommendations on what they can do to keep kids in person.
I'm hopeful that we will be able to take that data and analyze it and then share our guidance to get schools to act before they get to that point where there are too many sick kids.
Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
The Kansas Safer Classroom Work Group will meet every week to share information on cases, quarantines, and vaccinations with districts in the state. A new record high for child COVID-19 hospitalizations. As more students return to school for the first time in a year, some districts are closing schools following deaths and a spike in cases. Reporter Emily Schmidt has a closer look at the concerning numbers.
Growing concerns about rising COVID-19 cases among children who are being hospitalized at the highest rate in more than a year. New CDC data showing just how seriously the Delta variant can hit people who are unvaccinated.
Most either are unvaccinated or under the age of 12 and unable to get vaccinated. The numbers have been 3 or 4 times what we were seeing last winter at its peak.
The CDC says between August 20th and 26th, an average of 330 children were admitted to hospitals every day with COVID-19.
I have a mission for them to get 2 or 3 other people vaccinated, and for the kids who are in high school to get some of their classmates vaccinated.
It comes as COVID-19 concerns force some schools in Florida and Texas to go virtual again. In Texas, a school district closing schools after 2 teachers died of COVID-19 in the same week. In Northwest Florida, school districts in 2 counties also shutting down until after Labor Day, either due to a spike in COVID cases or quarantine-related staffing shortages, or both. Neither district mandates masks for students or staff. Meanwhile, FDA advisors will meet September 17th to discuss Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine boosters. That's just 3 days before the White House target date.
They are preparing for the likelihood that we will be giving boosters to individuals, and logistically we'll be starting it on the week of September the 20th.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Emily Schmidt.
Last month, the White House announced that starting September 20th, booster shots would become available to all adults 8 months after their second vaccine dose. However, that move is pending authorization from the Food and Drug Administration and CDC advisors. Data from the state of Kansas shows that about a third of nursing homes have fewer than half of their healthcare workers vaccinated against the coronavirus. The data shows that just 4 of the more than 300 federally licensed nursing homes in the state are meeting the goal of 90% of healthcare workers vaccinated against COVID-19. The state released the data after President Biden announced that his administration will require nursing home staff to be vaccinated as a condition for those facilities to continue receiving federal Medicare and Medicaid funding. State data shows that about 46% of all Kansans were fully vaccinated as of yesterday. Some changes could be coming in the weather. Let's check in with Chris Warner.
Yeah, a few changes are on the way, and they'll start as early as tomorrow morning. What we saw today, though, we did make it up to 92. We started a day at 71. We're a little bit above normal, but nowhere near the records, which is a good thing for right now. Skywatch Storm Tracker, as the day has progressed, this line of thunderstorms across Kansas has been inching closer and closer. It had been severe. There was even a tornado watch up that way, but none of that is in effect at this point. And when these storms get here, we're not anticipating them to be significant, although there may be a strong storm or two out there. So let's take a look at when we're expecting them to get here. So as the day rolls on, early morning, storms will initially start in our northern counties before they start to spread through the rest of the area. And we may even see some redevelopment of these storms as the day progresses. As we head through, we're going to start at 70, move on to 82 by 8:10 a.m., and that's when those storm chances pick up. 90 by noon and 93 by 4. We'll have a complete breakdown of the forecast here in just a few minutes.
See you soon. A Joplin woman is going to prison for the abuse and neglect of her young daughter. Authorities arrested Celia Laura Licone in March of last year after she brought her child to the hospital for vomiting. Hospital staff found signs the child was malnourished and had been physically abused, including multiple healed fractures. This week, Laura Licone took a plea deal and a judge sentenced her to 25 years in prison. Still ahead, the father of a fallen Missouri Marine talks about his son and the legacy he's left behind. And indictments for 3 Colorado police officers and 2 paramedics in connection with the death of Elijah McClain. Jared Schmitz of Wentzville, Missouri, was one of 13 U.S. service members killed in an attack near Kabul airport during the evacuation of Afghanistan. Reporter Russell Kinsall spoke with Jared's father, Mark, about the life and legacy of his son.
Mark Schmitz took a moment to kneel and pray at the Veterans Memorial in O'Fallon, Missouri today. Then he spoke to reporters about his son, Jared, with a mix of pride and grief.
And he's been my strength. He's been my light.
Schmitz said Jared wanted to be a Marine since he was a high school sophomore because he wanted to help others and make a difference. And that's what he believes his son was doing at the airport in Kabul. Schmitz said he learned more from Jared's commanding officer.
He said these guys are truly heroes in every sense of that word.
He said Jared's commanding officer says his unit was working at the Abbey Gate, helping evacuees get to safety and a better life. He said Jared's unit ran to the gate to help out when a suicide bomber's device went off, killing Schmitz and 12 others.
There was a lot of commotion, a lot of mad rushing to the gate all at the same time. And these Marines, the ones that weren't already on the wall, were rushing in there to help. And he said, I've never seen bravery like that.
Schmitz flew to Dover Air Force Base over the weekend to watch his son's remains and those of the other fallen service members return to American soil.
Watching these gentlemen salute and give their respect to each fallen individual was really moving.
He said if any good can come from his son's death is that Americans put aside their differences and rally around the 13 fallen service members. Then he remembered his son with a quote from former President Ronald Reagan.
He says that some people will spend a lifetime wondering if they made a difference in this world. Marines don't have that problem. And my son doesn't have that problem.
The Schmitz are asking that all donations go to the St. Louis Hero Network. He said there's also talk of a tribute to the 13 and a scholarship at his high school, Fort Zumwalt South. A Missouri inmate who's been in prison for more than 40 years for a triple murder many believe he did not commit will wait several more weeks for a court hearing that could lead to his release. A Jackson County judge today set a September 13th court date to hear arguments over motions in 62-year-old Kevin Strickland's case. A date for a hearing during which prosecutors will argue that Strickland should be freed was not set. Jackson County prosecutor Gene Peters Baker has said evidence that convicted Strickland in 1979 has been disproved or retracted. The Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt believes Strickland is guilty and has fought his release. 3 Aurora, Colorado police officers and 2 paramedics have been indicted on manslaughter and other charges in the 2019 death of 22-year-old Elijah McLean. According to the indictment, McLean was rendered unconscious, suffered hypoxia, and his physical and mental conditions were impaired after officers placed him in several carotid holds. When paramedics arrived, they injected him with ketamine. It's a drug used to sedate combative people, but the dosage they administered was meant for someone more than 70 pounds heavier. Later, Pitt State opens up its season against Central Missouri. We'll have the highlights in sports.
But first, we've got changes on the way in the forecast, including some better temperatures and rain. We'll break it all down next.
Brought to you by...
Hey, so we've seen some pretty good temperatures the last few days. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still been a little warm, still been a little muggy, but nothing like what we've seen over the past couple of weeks. Take a look at this time lapse from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri. I'm not going to lie, I feel like it's moving a little faster than usual. Maybe it's just because we're getting that much further into the year, time's going that much faster. Over the last 36 hours, temperatures did not look so bad. We started Wednesday at 70, made it up to 88. We turn around here, do a little ballet. We started today at 71, made it up to 92 degrees, but we do have some changes on the way. We're going to get to those changes. Right now, 7th and Range Line looking clear, looking nice, and the temperatures still looking not too bad. 80 is what it is, 82 is what it feels like, dew point 67, humidity 64%, and that is in advance of the changes that we are going to see. Temperatures across the region also looking about the same. Most of us sitting in some upper 70s to lower 80s across the area. And here it is as just a nice wider view where you can see off to the northwest, it's starting to cool down. Stockton, of course, has been the cool spot lately. 73 is what they're at right now. So I want to step out of the way of this map because you can see there's some storms we're going to talk about, and this is their progress through the day tomorrow. So 7 a.m. we're going to start about 70 degrees, and then right around 9, 10 o'clock, those storms are going to build in. We're making it to 82, 90 by noon, 93 by 4. With storm chances through most of the day. And that's where these storms are, is off to our northwest. So right now, nothing in our immediate area. Some of these storms have been severe. There'd even been a tornado watch, but that has since been canceled. And these storms are going to continue to work along this cold front and roll into our area. So here's a look at what we are tracking over the next couple of days. The thunderstorm chances are increasing, as we mentioned, and some of them, especially tomorrow, may be strong to marginally severe. If they do get a little rowdy, wind and hail looks to be the primary risk. And then by Labor Day, we're going to warm back up and clear out. So let's get into the futures, what this cold front wants to do. So as we track through again tomorrow, it's going to start to move into the area. It's going to give us some scattered thunderstorm chances. And again, some of those may be on the strong side as we progress through the day itself. As we mentioned, the thunderstorm chances really start to pick up, and as this system moves through, those thunderstorm chances are going to pick up, of course, from northwest to southeast, and then it's going to kind of repeat itself as we head into Saturday. So this Saturday morning, that cold front just kind of hangs out for a bit, and we get more storm development along that front, and that's going to be the case throughout most of Saturday. We go through the day, thunderstorms still wanting to hang around and just kind of rain on us throughout the Labor Day weekend. And there's even a good chance that these start to push out by Saturday night. And then we get into Sunday, and even though there's not a lot on there right now, there is the chance Sunday that we may see some more thunderstorms. That's why we've got chances Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures coming down to 83 by Sunday. Labor Day, though, we're going to clear out, start to warm back up. And here's something about next week. We've got some warmer temperatures, except for Wednesday, but take a look at the lows. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, getting pretty chilly. What we've got is the dew points that we've been seeing are going to kind of go away. It's going to dry out a bit, and so It's going to be a dry heat, and because of that dryness in the air, it's going to allow it to cool off a lot faster and warm up a lot faster.
Yeah, we won't be dealing with that heat index quite as much.
Exactly.
Thanks, Chris. Hey, it's time for Little Balkans Days in Pittsburgh. Folks today were able to get an up-close look at the history of the city. It's part of what organizers are calling a living history event. The tour took place from 1st and Broadway to 7th and Broadway and finally to the historic Stillwell Hotel.
We hope to grow it eventually to have more towns, more stops, but we really wanted to bring back a little piece of history where it's a nice night, you can get a little exercise, it's a healthy educational experience, but you can learn a little bit about downtown and about Pittsburgh.
There'll be plenty more events for Little Balkans Days tomorrow and Saturday. An outdoor concert that had been scheduled for tomorrow at 6:30 is being moved to inside Memorial Auditorium. Coming up in sports, the Missouri Southern Lions open the football season on the road against Nebraska Kearney, and the Pitt State Gorillas aim to knock off a top 15 team in the nation in their season opener. Jacob Leonard joins us with the highlights next.
Doug Hetty.
Tonight is the opening night of the season for Pitt State and Missouri Southern football. Both teams are on the road tonight in Week 1. Now, Pittsburgh State has a big one right off the bat in Warrensburg, Missouri, facing the Central Missouri Mules. Now, UCM is currently ranked 13th in the nation in the preseason coaches poll. Now, Gorillas strike first. Max Sexton over the top to Christian Carter. Carter hauls it in for the 45-yard touchdown. Pitt State has the first 7 of the game. Now, the PSU defense really good all night. Here, Dallas Flowers back there to get the interception. Gorillas take a 7-0 lead after the first. To the second quarter now, Mario Kirby, his first career touchdown grab from Sexton. 4-yard score makes it 14-3 PSU. Another big play on defense here. Former Webb City Cardinal Alex Gaskill forcing the turnover. Gorillas set up deep in Central Territory, and they would capitalize. Another local guy, Pittsburgh product Elijah Harris. He grabs 2 touchdowns tonight, including this 24-yarder. Pitt State up 21-3 at half. Huge win for the Gorillas to open the season. They beat Central Missouri 35-16. The Missouri Southern Lions are on the road in Nebraska this evening, taking on the Nebraska Kearney Lopers in their opener. Now, this one was actually delayed by more than 2 hours due to weather. So they're still going with under 2 to half. Southern is down 14-0. Former Joplin Eagle Nathan Glades has 44 rushing yards for the Lions. At the junior college level, the Fort Scott Greyhounds have a home game to begin the season tonight, facing the Highland Scotties. And that one just went final a little bit ago. Fort Scott falls in a good one, 21-13. The Greyhounds are back in action next Saturday, hosting Garden City. Well, tomorrow night is the opening night of the season for Kansas high school football. Right off the bat, we get a big one in southeast Kansas with the Frontenac Raiders hosting the Columbus Titans. Now, these two teams, no doubt, 2 of the best in the area. Frontenac, actually one of the highest ranked teams in Class 3A coming into the year. Now, last year, Titans got the best of the Raiders on their way to an undefeated regular season. So this time around, Frontenac out for a bit of revenge.
Our kids have heard about it all summer long from kids from Frontenac, people in Frontenac, that they're extremely fired up to play us because, of course, we did get a win last year, so we don't expect them to overlook us by any stretch.
We know they're going to be a tough team. I think we had a great summer in the weight room. I think we had a really good practice yesterday. We feel very confident right now, but there's going to be adversity when you play good teams. So we got to go through the ups and downs early. It's going to be hot, and we got to get used to that conditioning part as well. So if we just take care of our job, do the little things, and just execute, I think we'll be okay.
In Oklahoma tonight, a little Thursday night action in Fairland. The Owls welcome in the Afton Eagles for an early season rivalry game. Owls start their first drive of the game with good field position, then Andy Bradbrook just takes a snap, runs it into the end zone. Later on in the first, Tatum Ford's pass is intercepted. Jaden Linthicum gets the turnover. That will stop Afton's drive, but no points come of it. Second quarter, Fairland takes over inside the 5-yard line. Jacoby Jackson, easy touchdown there. Owls out to a 24-0 lead. And it was all Fairland in this one. Quarterback Boone Perryman now takes it himself to the outside. 33 yards into the end zone for the score. Fairland dominates 40-0. Head coach Jimmy Hudson gets his first win. Finally, the Kansas City Royals wrap up their 3-game series with Cleveland tonight. The Royals are trying to avoid the sweep after dropping the first 2. Kansas City sends Mike Minor to the hill tonight in the finale. Minor goes 5 innings tonight, only allowed 2 earned runs. The Royals, though, fall in this one 4-2. Kansas City will stay at home for a 3-game weekend series starting tomorrow against the White Sox. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
We're here to help.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Private Alfred Haas served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. His hometown, Chanute, Kansas, and we are proud to salute Private Alfred Haas. He's tonight's 4-state hero. The Rock has a doppelganger and he wants to drink tequila with the guy.
Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
No, that is not The Rock, but yeah, it sure looks like him. Images of Alabama Patrol Lieutenant Eric Fields are going viral because he looks so much like Dwayne Johnson. The actor and wrestler himself is tweeting about it, posting pictures of the two and calling Fields the cooler one. These days, The Rock is cooking a small batch tequila called Terramana, something like that. Anyway, he says he'd love to share it with Fields. Johnson also thanks Fields for his service and urges him to stay safe. Can you imagine if you're in a car and Officer Fields stops you? You're sure. You're sure.
Yeah. It was really hard for me to believe that wasn't the same person in those photos.
Isn't that
I thought
amazing?
it was a trick.
Yeah, he was close.
Well, probably asking the officer for his autograph. Right. And a ticket. It's probably the way he's giving it. The weather.
Weather, checking out some storms out to the west along the cold front. They're going to work their way in here. 7-day forecast shows stormy trend into the weekend. Better conditions by next week.
Final sports notes.
Pitt State football will go for a 2-0 start in their home opener against Nebraska Kearney on September 11th.
Don't forget our morning show, and let's make it a great tomorrow.
Salon service is